90s was such a fantastic time for gaming. It was unlike any other time. We got rivalry between Sega and Nintendo in the early 90s, and then later PlayStation versus Nintendo. It was an all-out war on who could pump out the best games and systems. As a kid, I owned both N64 and PS1, and man, what a time to be alive. The N64 had so many amazing games, but the PS1, I still found the best one. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro Dragon, Medieval, Mega Solid, Rayman, Persona, Gran Turismo, Croc, Silent Hill, and of course one of PlayStation 1's staple franchises, Lego Resident Evil. This series really changed the horror genre. While it wasn't the first game to do this, it was definitely one that revolutionized it. 2 and 3 was and still are fantastic to this day. However, the first game, while it has its charm and moments, it hasn't aged that well.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
It definitely has a huge case of, as I like to call it, the first game in the series syndrome. So Capcom decided to release a full-blown remake of it in 2002 on the GameCube. This remake put a new standard of what a remake should be. Pretty much everything was better here, but that was like back in 2002. Now it's 2021. Does it still hold up? Well, let's find out. So before you start a new save file, you can choose to play either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. For this review, I pretty much just played Jill. There are some differences such as certain characters you meet, some few different scenarios, and some few gameplay changes, but otherwise both are pretty much the same. The game opens up with a CG intro of a helicopter flying over a forest. A team named Alpha is in search of the Bravo team that has disappeared during their mission. We also get to know that strange murders have been happening in Raccoon City, families that have been not only killed but eaten as well. We find the crashed helicopter of the Bravo team, with the Alpha team deciding to explore on foot. Suddenly the team gets attacked by these dog creatures. The helicopter pilot leads the team, and Chris, about to get attacked, gets luckily saved by one of the team members, Wesker. They see the mansion and decide to hide inside it. In the mansion, Jill, Barry and Wesker manage to survive, but with no signs of Chris. I mean, they were running with him into the mansion, so what happened to him? And this is where the game starts. Anyways, this game plays just like the PS1 games, meaning tank controls. Now I personally don't hate tank controls. When done right, I think it can be really good. I think Resident Evil and Silent Hill games does this very well. Sure, I might get annoyed sometimes, but it works well enough. I would even say that this is probably one of the best when it comes to its tank controls. I barely have an issue playing this game. So entering this room, we see Barry looking at something on the ground. Blood. Now basically Barry tells you to go look around the house, and this is where we get one of the most iconic scenes in Resident Evil series. Brocash, we kill the zombie and find one of the members of the other team has been killed by it. Whoops. Speaking of graphically, this game looks absolutely fantastic, and not just for the time, even in 2021. I would even go as far to say I think it actually looks better than some games released today. This game still blows my mind by how amazing it looks. The character models looks amazing, and the environments are so beautifully designed with some great lighting effects. And the HD version makes this even better. So your goal in the game is to go through this mansion, find Chris and escape. But to do so you have to go through many puzzles around the mansion and face the terrors that lies in it. We saw earlier the reveal of the zombie, which will be the most common enemy in the game, but there are also a lot of other enemy types. You have the zombie dogs, which was also mentioned earlier. There are these swamp things? Sorry, I just want an excuse to play this. I love this. They're called hunters. There are also snakes, giant spiders, and these bug creatures. There are also bosses, but I will talk about them later. The zombies are pretty normal, just walk slowly towards you and attack you if you're nearby. You have very limited ammo and health, which ramps up the tension a lot. One simple mistake can cause you to die, which means you have to start from your last save, which you can only do by collecting these inks and save through these typewriters. You will start out with a normal gun, but later will get more weapons to add to your arsenal, like shotguns, grenade launchers and more. You also have a melee combat, but I'm just gonna say it now, it sucks ass. You almost never use it. I barely use it, like it's not worth using at all. The guns are awesome though, and all feel so amazing to use. Blasting an enemy with a shotgun, especially for me, is the best part of this game. Ooh, so satisfying. The atmosphere in this game is absolutely stellar. I never feel safe entering a new room. Even the ones I have visited before, I don't feel safe in. Even playing the game multiple times, I don't feel safe in this game. Never do I do that. Even playing this game multiple times, I never feel safe. The only rooms that are mostly 100% safe are rooms where you can save in. I say almost 100% because, well, we'll get to that too in a bit. So walking around the mansion room for a while, we find someone from the Bravo team. He's unfortunately very hurt though and needs help as soon as possible. If you're fast enough and are able to heal him, he will then help you against the snake boss, and if you defeat it, he will give you another shotgun. But if you don't, he just dies and you have to do the boss fight alone and get no extra shotgun. Speaking of boss fights, they're okay. Like, not gonna lie, they are underwhelming. I'm not sure if this is a common opinion or not, but I find the bosses in this game just okay. Like, all we really do is just shoot at them, wait for them to attack, then shoot at them, rinse and repeat. The only boss I find cool was the final one, but that's because, well, we'll get to that later. Overall, they're just okay. But hey, not horrible, not bad either, so... The puzzles are really great in this game. Sure, some of them were simpler than others, and some were not fun, but most of them are generally really good. My favorite was probably this clock puzzle. So there are 4 symbols: sword, armor, shield and a helmet. The puzzle reads, when the two have run each other through, the path to destiny will open. You have the big and small hand you can turn around on the clock. Now if you notice on the side, there is a painting of 2 men fighting each other. One step through the other person's head with a long sword, and the other through the armor with a smaller one. Here the big hand acts as a big sword, and the small one as a smaller sword. So you have to point the big one at the helmet, and the small one at the armor piece. And boom, you got it. I'm a huge fan of puzzle where it's challenging, but fair. Cinematography is something I think a lot of people kinda underestimate on how important it is, and how it can really enhance movies, games and art in general. And this game is a fantastic example of that. So this game uses fixed camera angles, meaning every room will have a different camera angle. Whether it's frog perspective, third person, close up, or a bird perspective, it will always change. My favorite example of this is in this cabin. You just walk into the door like usual, and then boom, you get a second person view of a giant spider above you. This is such a brilliant shot and completely cuts you off guard. Plus with the fact that this is a brilliant way to show this new enemy type. This game has a lot of those type of moments, and that's what makes me love it so much. I always said that sound is super important in horror games. This game uses sound so well, which adds to its atmosphere. A lot of rooms will have no music, with the only thing you can hear being the environmental sounds and your footsteps. There are of course music in some rooms, which works really well. I especially like this one track in the Shark Tank section. The way the music starts off very calm and then shifts to becoming so much more creepy works wonders. I can't talk about music and not mention the safe room theme. It is a delight to listen to. If you heard this theme, you know you're in a safe spot where no monster can ever enter. As the game goes on and you explore more of the rooms in the mansion, you'll notice that Barry is acting weird. There's this one point in the game where it sounds like he's talking with someone in a room, and entering a room after you'll find him alone telling you he's just talking with himself.
Jill.
Barry, I heard someone talking.
Oh, you heard. I think age is starting to take its toll. Talking to myself is becoming a bad habit.
I finally figured out what this statement is!
One thing is for sure, and that's Barry is a dirty liar. The most memorable character from the game without a doubt is Lisa Trevor. You first meet her in the cabin, but you can actually hear her before that. You can actually hear her moan and scream if you walk down here. Your first encounter with her is in the cabin in the wood. You just enter the cabin and find some stuff, but boom, Lisa there and smacks you. And you end up unconscious. You wake up with Lisa just standing there, and then she just tries to kill you. Not really sure why she didn't try to kill you when you're down, but whatever. You will meet Lisa multiple times in the game, another time being in the mines after Barry leaves you, that bastard. She's actually a pretty sad character. If you go down the mines and are able to escape from her, you can find a room where you can find her diary, explaining she got experimented on the Umbrella Corporation and started turning insane. She was just a little girl when all this was happening. There was even a part where she claimed her mother came to visit, but she didn't believe it was her. And what do you do when you don't believe a person is her mother? You rip their face off and put it on your own, so she could be with her forever and ever.
Now that's fucked up.
Shortly after, you find Barry again, and this time Jill ain't having it and start to ask the real questions. Then Lisa comes back for a final showdown. Okay, well, kind of a showdown. Here you have the option to either give the gun to Barry so he can help you, or not trust him at all and do it yourself. This part is just really disappointing. Like, you would think there would be this epic showdown. But no, all they're doing is pushing the pillars down so the coffin can open. She grabs the skull and just jumps off. We're now moving forward. We come to this fountain and do this puzzle. Well, unless you're a goof like me who forgot to take the ambulance with you and had to run all the way back to get them. So this is the last area in the game, and probably my favorite too. The labs. This place has a really creepy vibe to it. It's kinda hard to explain why I love it so much, but there's just something about the puzzles and the atmosphere I just adore. After solving a bunch of puzzles, we then come to this very room, and lo and behold, we see none other than Wesker. And Barry points a gun at us.
Oh, Larry, you're a fucking asshole.
So Wesker has been secretly working for the Umbrella Corporation to get rid of the evidence of them being the ones who started the virus. Meanwhile, Barry has been helping Wesker, not because he wants to, but because Umbrella had kidnapped his family and won't let him go unless he does as they say.
So basically, what I was thinking of was, oh fuck.
However, it's revealed that Wesker actually only used Barry for his own interest because he had a plan for his own. Awakening this big monster. Wesker is about to pull the plug on Jill, but Barry comes in the last seconds and shoots Wesker. However, Wesker still managed to turn the monster on. God, that sounded really weird, I didn't intend that. His plan kinda backfires though, when the monster bitch slaps in, and now it's up to us to kill it. Well, more to Jill, because Barry got slapped too. This fight, like I said earlier, is really cool. It's really the only boss that I actually really like though. It's something about the setting and it just feels so epic. After defeating it, Jill and Barry try to escape and find Chris, because Wesker somehow managed to escape and activate the self-destruct sequence. We luckily find Chris just been chilling in a prison cell. And we manage to shoot this flare gun so we can alert the helicopter to get us. And oh no, the monster is still not dead. But this time, Jill has a rocket launcher. This time is harder because he will run in a straight line towards you, so you have to move more, otherwise you will take a lot of damage. But yeah, this boss is really cool. And you also get this amazingly final shot when you kill him. Shortly after, the helicopter comes and picks us up and see the mansion blow up. That's the ending. I asked earlier if this game still holds up, and I have to be honest, yes, it fucking does.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, best game, best game.
This game has not aged a single day and still stays as a top tier remake. Excellent gameplay, amazing atmosphere, fantastic sound design, beautiful graphics, and Jill's thick ass. Highest recommendation to people. I don't say this word too much, but I will classify this game as a horror masterpiece. So thank you all for watching. And next time I will be looking at Rayman Legends, the sequel to Rayman Origins. So see you all there.